Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to the monthly portfolio update. I hope you'll find the information in this video useful, but disclaimer, please note that this is not investing advice. It's just my portfolio as it stands on Monday, January 1st, and it can change at any time without previous notification. Following an investment strategy without doing the work yourself is almost guaranteed to result in losses. So please be careful since it's your responsibility to do your own research before investing. With that out of the way, today we have the second ever yearly portfolio performance review, where we see if everything we talk about also makes money, not just hopefully sense. In the concluding year, 2023, we'll see how the pyramid portfolio fared measured against some relevant benchmarks, and we'll also take a look at the best and worst investments, as well as talk a bit about what I'm expecting from next year. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and begin as usual with the latest portfolio update. This month I continue buying crypto, Bitcoin, ETH and some altcoins for the fifth month in a row, even though I didn't really plan to, but prices dropped enough that I had to buy more. Spoiler alert, crypto was one of the best performing assets in my portfolio this year, but more on this later in the bonus section. I also bought some Prosus shares after Tencent dropped 12% in one day based on news that the Chinese authorities are looking into not allowing gaming companies to incentivize users to log in and play every day. However, I think that the price drop was an overreaction to the news, so I took advantage and built my position back up a bit. We'll see how it will all play out in the long term. I also bought some new Romanian government bonds after one of the maturities expired this month and another large one is scheduled to expire in January. I also sold all of my fondul proprietate since the price was right and I don't expect it to grow significantly. As I mentioned before, I want to be more concentrated in my portfolio and reduce some of my low conviction positions so that I keep my research efforts at a manageable level. In terms of cash flow, I had the coupons paid by 3 of my Romanian government bonds, as well as one expired, so I got back my principal as well. I also got the S&P 500 dividend index for Q4, which as usual is very small but well received nonetheless. Ending last month of the year, the portfolio is, as of January 1st, 2024, like this. The overall portfolio kept its return year to date at 7% plus my living expenses, totaling a yearly return of 9.41%, which was not bad. I'm coming close to the salary I had as a relatively well-paid employee. We will see later how this return fared with other relevant benchmarks, but I am happy with the results and the portfolio composition. That being said, the portfolio allocation pyramid this month looks something like this. We see an increase in crypto and bonds and a decrease in real estate because it is a somewhat illiquid asset, and in cash because I bought some asset this month, but next month I should be back up to a comfortable 20% level. Before going to the next section, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps bringing this completely free information to more and more people. So, let's now look at how the pyramid portfolio performed over the past year, which started rough but ended up pretty well. As mentioned, my total return was 9.41% for the year and is below the S&P and the Romanian stock market index BET, partially because I had to take money out for living expenses, which was about 2.4% of the portfolio this year, and also I was diversified in China as well as other assets which underperformed, but we'll talk more in the next part about my best and worst investments of the year. Now, it might seem to be underperforming, but if you take into consideration the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023, please see last year's video for more details. I was actually up 1% when the S&P was down 19.44% and the BET was down 10%. So the combined return over the last 2 years for the portfolio performed pretty well. Of course, the best bet would have been to load up on BET in January 2023 with some hindsight 2020. but things don't really work that way in real life. Some other notes, first related to the inflation. It is as of reported by authorities the month for November, so it might change in December, but hopefully not significantly, and it could also be adjusted up and down later in the year. Also, short-term bonds returns depend on maturity, moment of purchase, etc. And they can be higher or lower, but I think that the numbers represent a correct picture of most investors' returns in these bonds for the year. Their purpose, even though they're not the exact numbers, is to see how the portfolio performed comparatively. Failing to admit your investing mistakes means failing investing. When you separate luck from skill, your skill improves. It's better to be good than look good. Every investor makes mistakes, me included, all the time. That's why I try to mention even mistakes with a small financial impact, like the EAT forced conversion a few months back. Anyways, the top 3 worst investments of this year for me were: in terms of potential money lost, at number 1 is Transgaz, which in May of this year reached a price of 336 RON per share before a 16-to-1 split, which usually marks the shares higher, even though it's the same pie split in more slices. It actually dropped quite a lot in price after the split. While I'm still positive, it is actually the biggest financial mistake. The second one is a weird one, and it's Meta, since it's not a company that I owe or owned in my portfolio, but when it reached a multi-year low, I was sure it was very cheap, and I should have bought it since the most likely outcome was a big upside. But I just don't like Zuckerberg and the company overall. However, making money shouldn't be based on liking or disliking somebody or something. And last but not least, there is a tie between gold miners, ETF symbol G2X, and Alibaba, which started the year with a huge potential, but both underperformed the market significantly. In the case of G2X, actually gold is close to all-time highs, but the miners are still lagging behind 10-15%. Top 3 best investments of the year are: of course, there is no darkness without light, and with a 9.4 return this year, there were quite a few home runs. But the top 3 investments of the year, in my opinion, were: first, Bursa de Valori București, BVB, which is my first ever 100% return, so a 2x. Next is the Fondul Proprietatea Hidroelectrica bet that I talked extensively in previous videos. The analysis paid off about 34% in a few months. And last but not least, of course, crypto had a great year in 2023 and hopefully do even better in 2024. Mistakes and wins are good, but they are useless if we don't learn lessons. Here are my top 3 lessons for the year. First, analysis is very important. Don't outsource it. Both positively with Fondul Proprietatea and Hidroelectrica, and also negatively with cloning great investors like Charlie Munger and betting on Alibaba. Second, it's not about personal feelings. If the math makes sense, do the trade. The example I gave previously with Meta, when I should have bought when it was really cheap. And third, nobody is a prophet in his or her own village. For example, people see how I've been able to live on doing this and they ask what should they invest in, but invariably, when I suggest something, they come back with something: oh, I can't do that because of X, Y, Z. And last but not least, I want to share my expectations for the year. Of course, we try and build our portfolio so that it performs well no matter what, since the future is unknowable. However, I put a few ideas forward so that I can check next year how wrong I was. Wink wink, since nobody can really predict the future. I think 2024 will be a relatively worse year compared to 2023, but still overall positive. The main bets will be crypto with the BTC ETF approval and the halving. The Romanian stock market, even though it went up this year 30%, and usually when that happens the next year it goes down, reversion to the mean, I think that long term it will go up to catch up to other EU economies. Also, US big tech might go up with the Fed eventually easing rates. To conclude, this was a good to great year, much better than anticipated. Hopefully, I will have a few more of these before a black swan negative event hits us all. Anyways, I hope you have a great year. I haven't decided yet if I will continue doing these videos monthly or, as I mentioned before, quarterly, but let me know in the comments, and if the sentiment is positive, I might continue doing them monthly. I hope you have a great investing year. Bye bye.